first time I'm going on my public page, so I think it should be good.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure, because this is the first time I'm going live. I'm Zoom here on my public page. Oh, I think it is. It is live, I feel. Yes.
Yep.
I think. All right.
We're live.
You're live. Hello, beloveds. This is Dr. Arayeh, your rapid transformational coach in the areas of relationship, parenting, and personal development. I do believe joy is our birthright. Do you? Do you want to live with more joy and peace and love and grace and abundance and flow in your life and less triggers and frustrations and overwhelm? Do you want to have more meaningful and peaceful relationships with your partners, your children, your boss, your parents, and even your friends? If yes, I'll be honored to be your partner in your life journey. Head on to drarayeh.com to make your free 30-minute consultation. I'll be honored to serve you. Now, let's go to our video. This is my first time to go live on my public page after a very long time. And the reason is that I was going live on my private group, but because the group was closed, people couldn't share the video. So I thought, let's go to the public page and have a wider topics such as business, relationships, parenting, as I had before. What else? Triggers, pandemic stresses, and all sorts of topics. And today I am really lucky because my guest is not only a renowned parent coach, but she's also a business coach, a success coach. And I'm so blessed to know her. She's my dear friend, Sue DeCaro. I will pass the platform to her because I want her to introduce herself, tell us how she came to this awakening journey, how she became so empowered to go for self-compassion, self-love, self-empowerment, what caused her to shift that robotic life and to come to this beautiful journey of life that she's helping the world, with parenting problems, business problems. So I'm so happy to have her. Sue, take it away.
Thank you. Wow, what a beautiful opening. And it's certainly an honor to be here with you in this space. As you know, I'm so fond of all that you do in this world, and of course, our friendship. So thank you. I think what brought me to this point is being asleep. And I think that is true for a lot of us, is we realize that we're kind of sleepwalking or living in a robotic nature and not really connected with our true self or to the people around us. And as I know you believe, it's very important that you first connect with yourself before you can connect with anyone else in your life. And so in raising two children, my oldest being my greatest awakener, although they both awakened me, I realized that there was something not only in my parenting that wasn't working well, but it was also coming from my own conditioning that was just a cycle repeating from my family. And it was showing up in how I was parenting my children. So the journey was really uncovering how I could parent differently in order to raise the children I had, not the children in my, dream life, lined up and listening for the whistle and doing exactly as you say, right? We all want those children and think we're going to have those children until we have children and we realize that's just not possible. Not the real life.
I know, like Sound of Music, those seven children.
That's what I was thinking about, is Sound of Music, because we watch that this time of year. So, through stumbling, through chaos, through just really making bad choices and, being stuck in the mud, so to speak, I found there was a different way. I learned more about consciousness. I learned more about different parenting choices and processes, and really how to transform and work with professionals to move through my own pain and my own healing to come out on the other side. But I know, as you know, this is a journey. It's not a destination. So every day we grow and every day we learn something new about ourselves, the world around us, our children teach us. And so I'm still learning, I'm still transforming. I think we change every moment of every day, just as our children do. And that's what's brought me here, to the passion of really helping to heal the world and helping to make this world a better place for our children by working with the adults in their lives.
Yes, that's beautiful. So Sue, you have two grandkids as well, and they're gorgeous. And I want
Thank
you
you.
to give us a little bit of like your best advice for grandparents who are out there watching us. What is the best conscious advice? I know that, loving them and all. Oh, I love that.
The best conscious advice is silence. It's silence, really silencing your want to teach, change, alter, help, protect, and all of those things. Because we all want to, right? We know better, we have more wisdom, we've already raised children, but it's not our place. So silence is, I think, one of the best tools we can all use in so many places in our lives, even business. But certainly from a grandparenting standpoint, that's one that I do practice, is just, knowing when I'm needed, and then sharing compassionately and kindly. And if I'm not asked, I just listen, as a grandparent, not as a professional. So, I think that we have to be very careful in being asked for advice. And we can ask our children, would you like me to share my thoughts? If they say no, then that's it. It's not a personal attack on us. We just have to let it go. And if they say, yes, I'd love to hear what you have to say, then we know we've at least been thoughtful in asking before we just, share all our amazing wisdom.
Yes. So just a practical question. If I know your children wouldn't do that because they've been raised by you probably half of their life consciously, but maybe all their life, I don't know.
No, half. You were right on.
But if they just presumably, if they do something really unconscious, like, I don't know, spanking, which we know that it's not any punitive measures, is actually not conscious, either emotional, physical, mental. But if, for example, they spank or do something that they put the children in timeout, or they're being disrespectful and they're projecting their fears on their children, what would you do? Would you just really go like that, or like
I'd go like this, just a little opening. That's a great question. And as much as I would love to teach everything I know, to my daughter has the children, it's still not my place to interfere. And so, even if she was doing something that I knew was completely unconscious, obviously, if it was something harming, I would step up, harming legally. But I don't think that it's my place. And I would say, I'd love to share some of my ideas and my wisdom and my thoughts if you're open to talk about, what this looks like or that looks like. I'm happy to help in any way I can. It seems like it's really challenging and difficult right now, but we have to be careful, because as soon as we make them feel like they're not doing a good job, that they perhaps could cut off the communication or lessen the communication. And I think the more we're connected, the better chance we have of offering little tidbits here and there and keeping those lines of communication open. But it's not my place to tell her how to parent on a daily basis, and I have to own that, as hard as it is.
Yes. How about with the grandchildren? Will you love them more, or kind of empower them, like what Dr. Shafali says, give an antidote? I know it's not the case in your family, but just in case.
Yeah,
Give an
absolutely.
antidote to grandchildren. Yeah.
Absolutely. So for example, there's been some challenging times trying to get my granddaughter, who's 5, in the bathtub. And I know her mother was, having a difficult time. And so later that evening, when she was dressed in her PJs, she was reading me a story. What better time could I be having than having my granddaughter, who doesn't quite read, but reading me a story? Anyway, I said, how was that bath you took? Fine. And I said, what kinds of things can you do in the bathtub that might make it more fun for you? So that's the back door, where I try to work with her in a different way and not make the mother feel as if it has to do with her parenting. We can empower our children to show up with something different, to, think of an idea for the bathtub, right? Empowering them to help change this process that for the parent is causing a lot of stress, even when we're not the parent. So I do try to work through the back door. Maybe you should take a book into the bath. What a great idea. You could read while you're in there. So
I love what one of the things you said a couple of years ago, it stuck with me. I love it that your go-to tool is to get curious. And always ask questions, especially of children, because they know, believe it or not, they know, because family meeting is one of the tools that I offer to parents. And I always tell parents to always ask, if you bring up a frustration, always ask the children first. If they're like, we all come up with solutions, but always ask a child, and they will come up with the most brilliant solutions. You'll be like, what? Why didn't I think of that?
right.
And the beauty of it is that when they come up with it, they stick with it because it's their solution, right? So I always bring it up. It was 2 years ago, I think, maybe more, 3 years ago, when I had a difficulty with my children getting out of bed in the morning, and I had to yell and, get out, like a billion times.
Not you.
So in the family meeting, I brought it up. And I said, I feel frustrated when you guys don't get up in the morning. And so we always have like a talking stick. So when it reached my son, he said, why don't you put some water on my face? I'm like, okay.
Interesting.
It was very interesting. So the next morning, I put some water on my face, on my hand, and I put it on his face, and he woke up because it was his solution. He had to work.
Right.
So it was
I love that. And you're absolutely right. The word curious is one of the most powerful words because it comes from a place of neutrality. When we ask, I'm curious, or we start a conversation with, I'm curious why. We're not furious, annoyed, we're just wondering. It's a wonder. And I think we tend to, in this world, look at our children when there's an issue as creating a problem. Like in your example, my child's not getting out of bed. My child's creating this problem. I can't wake my child because my child won't get out of bed. So the child becomes the problem, so to speak. And instead of doing that, if we look at the problem is we're struggling to get our child out of bed, and we need our child to help us, like you said, learn how to do that in a way that serves them. I had a parent tell me today that a client told me today that she's always present, but her son complained the other day that she's not really present. And she said, but I'm present. And I don't understand why he says that. And I said, it's present to one is not present to another. And so we need to look at everything from our children's angle, our children's perspective. Otherwise, we just keep banging our head against the wall, trying to find our own solutions that may not serve them in any way, shape, or form. So in this particular situation, what is presence? I'm curious, what does it look like for me to show up present for you?
Yeah, beautiful. And I think it actually applies to everything and everyone, because we all have all these assumptions and all these stories that, to be honest, I think most of it is not true. And we believe it. We believe these stories, and we kind of regurgitate them, and we apply them to the current situation. And they might not even work. They might not be even applicable or even right. They might not be true, really. So I think it's so important to have that kind of openness, that receivership in all situations, so we can be curious about, when it comes to our partners, when it comes to our friends. So I'm curious, what happened? What did you think? Why did you say that? So when we come with kind of accept that we don't know, because especially as parents, or even like human beings, we think we know and we should know, but it's so liberating when we accept we don't know. I actually did a spiritual practice with a spiritual guru a couple of years ago, and the practice was brilliant. She just said, what if you say, I don't know? And that, I don't know, it's like you put the burden off of your shoulder. Like, I don't know. And when I say I don't know, then I'm open to receive, because I'm closing down the file cabinets. I'm not regurgitating the past, right? And I'm not working from memory, whatever happened to me in the past. And I'm just open to receive new and novel ideas, fresh ideas. Either I receive it, or the person, gets inspired to communicate it with us. So I think that's really important. And also about everything, about events, we kind of make up our mind that we know everything. We know what's right, what's wrong.
Same thing in business.
Exactly.
We're so quick to want to fix everything and solve everything. And I think it goes back to conditioning. We've been conditioned to show up as adults with a solution. And we don't have to solve anything. As you said, we don't have to have the answers. It's not our job to fix everything for everybody, but to stay in that place of non-reactivity, because when we respond quickly or we respond with an answer, it's typically a reaction, right? We're in a reactive state. And so learning how to be silent and gather ourselves to step into curiosity wherever we are is really the gift.
Yeah.
It's taking a deep breath and remembering, nope, not fixing it. Nope, not answering it. Nope, not stepping
I
into the
don't know.
muck.
Yes.
Right,
Or I don't know.
right.
I
We
don't
don't
know.
have to know. Even if we do know, we don't have to know.
Yes. Yes. So maybe that's a good segue to kind of how do you navigate this difficult time right now? We've been since March probably, right? So we get triggered. I know so many people out there with with kids at home, with adults working from home. Everyone is just crammed into the house. We can't get out so much. What is your best advice or best tip to handle the triggers that we have inside the house with our loved ones, with our partners, with our children, and not only in the house but also over the phone, because we're talking to, I don't know, to parents, and they are frustrated.
Yeah.
What is your go-to tool to handle these triggers?
Put your headset on and just pretend nobody else exists. No, I'm just kidding. It's very challenging. I don't have little children at home, but before we got on here, I alerted everyone. I'm doing a live segment, no banging in the kitchen because it's right next door, and I need a little bit of quiet. So it's building a respectful environment, I think, most importantly, and understanding that we will be getting on each other's nerves. I mean, that's reality. And there's three of us here. We have gotten on each other's nerves, but we talk through it. And I think bringing attention to the fact that this is really difficult for everyone. So it's difficult if you have children. It's hard for them. They're not seeing their friends. They're not getting out to maybe sporting events or social events, or, in school learning, and learning is more challenging. And so everybody has to show up doing the very best they can with where they are at this time. I always suggest weekly meetings. 5 minutes, have breakfast together or dinner and talk about what were the stressors of the week? What can we all do to support you? And then the next person, pass the talking stick around. So everybody gets a chance to share what they need, what's hard for them, how they might get some support from the family, because you are a family system. And so the best thing we can do is support each other during this time. And, as quiet as it is around here, because I don't have little children, the other day I thought I was just going to lose it. And I took myself outside. It was so cold, and put my gloves on, my hat on, and I went for a walk, and I came back completely different, just different mood, different mentality, and was able to step into what I needed to do and not feel like the next person that spoke to me was, going to have their head ripped off.
Mhm.
So it's taking care of ourselves too. And parents out there who are trying to help their kids with virtual learning and do their own jobs and take care of the house and the household and the groceries and, grandma and everybody else, you must take care of yourself first. And, you and I are on the same page, I'm sure, that self-care is a priority. And so if I were going to give you one tip, it would be take care of yourself first so that you can show up fully energized to help others as they might need you.
And you actually mentioned my first tool for the time of trigger. Just separate yourself physically, get out and go around the block.
Run.
You did that. You did
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Because I always say, if it's not a safety matter, if it's not a safety issue, there's no emergency, really. No emergencies.
Well, it could be a safety issue, because if you
It's
stay in
not.
the house, you might really lose it. So people's safety,
Exactly. If you're there, it's going to be a safety issue.
throwing oranges across the room or something. Yeah.
But if the child, for example, is not so little, especially with partners or grown-ups, just excuse yourself. You don't have to be rude. I need a breather. And the best thing is to get out. I know it's cold. You're in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Right.
So
flurry today.
yeah, so just go around the block, and 15 minutes at least. I've read somewhere 15 minutes, and I've somewhere else I've seen that you need 1 hour for the cortisol hormone to subside, which is the stress hormone. So 15 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the situation. So we just, there's no emergency. We don't have to be we don't have to fight to be right. I love that mantra.
Right.
Don't fight to be right. So just put back the fight or flight mechanism back in its place, and just then you'll see, oh my gosh, we might not even remember what happened. Sometimes I try to go back, what was the origin? You don't remember, but at that time it was such a big deal. It was like a life or death.
Well, it could be nothing. I know in this particular day, there was nothing really. It was just my mood. And I think that's the other thing, is not only go out, and escape to take care of yourself, but also share. This morning I was in a mood and I really needed some time to take care of myself. I'm so glad I was able to go outside. What do you all need? How can you all help yourselves, or what can I do to help you get that space when you feel like your mood and the tension is rising?
Yeah.
Because it gives others permission, and it lets them know that this is common, that we're commonly going to feel like the walls are closing in and we need to run. And so, it's an important process to share that with our family members, children and adults.
Yeah, and also normalize it, because I myself, especially as coaches or therapists, we feel so guilty, because we're teaching it and we think, okay, why am I getting? But this is normal human condition. And while, especially if you have children, just announce it, declare it, acknowledge it, and then just fight or flight took it better of me, and I'm just coming back. Let's breathe, let's move through it. So we are role modeling, really. So it's okay if you get triggered. It's just that, as you said, you just get out, but also have preemptive measures, have 20-minute meditation time and walking time, and fill up that self-care so we don't overflow.
Mindful showers. I mean, it's the simple things that we normally do too, when you don't have a lot of time, that you can actually bring attention to. So taking a mindful shower, if you have small children and you're going to take a shower anyway, is just to really connect with your senses during that time. And I think the other thing that people need to remember, it has been a long pandemic, and we're not through it yet. And I think that the important thing is to remember that we will move through this and come out on the other side. There's a lot of learning that can take place during the process. We learn about ourselves, we learn about our families and just the world at large, and coming together to try to thrive through this. But everyone's doing the best they can. Mm-hmm. And our teachers are doing the best they can teaching in this way. I know a lot of teachers, and it's very challenging for them to try to teach children on Zoom. Your children are doing the best they can. They might not be where they would be if they were in a classroom, but that's okay, because when kids go back to the class, the teachers in the school districts, and I work with a few districts that already are acknowledging this, need to meet the kids where they are. And, first emotionally, and then, from an academic standpoint. So I know a lot of parents out there are worried, my kids are behind. All kids are behind. Everybody's struggling. Everybody is, having a really challenging time with this, kids and adults. So if we can acknowledge that every day we're showing up, kids are showing up and doing the best we can, and accept that, I think it would help to get a lot of that stress that's within us about achievement kind of out.
Yes, I agree. And I think it's also so important to question the education system. We put so much stress on emphasis on it, but it's just, what I was, I have to mention this. This is a little bit controversial, but I took a course yesterday, and he was showing, I don't know, the first telephone and the most recent telephone, the first TV, the most recent TV, the first, I don't know, car, the most recent car, and then showed the first classroom and the most recent classroom is exactly the same. So everything has shifted, everything has evolved, everything has advanced, except for education system. It's just all the children are sitting on wooden benches, and the blackboard is right there. It's just, kind of like the Pink Floyd, The Wall show. We don't need no education. So I'm not saying that we can't survive, without education. Of course, we can't, we have to, like, it's just not possible not to buy into the system, but at least have the awareness and know that, it's okay. It's just a grade. It's just, who will remember, like, do you remember all those, big, I don't know, algebra formula or anything like that? So what is more important right now, I think we have to teach our children emotional intelligence, or emotional literacy, mindfulness, meditation, self-love, kindness, managing, regulating emotions, and all those things. So and they're with us, and it's a great chance for us to teach them these things that are going to be used later in life, because they're not going to use an algebraic formula unless they're rocket scientists. So it's so important to have that perspective and really set our priorities straight, that it's just, let's just release them a little bit of all this, should and structures. And so maybe it's a good practice for us parents, that we put so much emphasis on education and grades, and, and just let go a little bit.
Absolutely. And I think with emotional intelligence and emotional literacy, now's the time, because their emotions are raw in some cases, and it's really great opportunity to help our children to really connect with that and to walk side by side with them in that arena, as well as, daily tasks. I mean, these are life skills and tools.
Yes.
Our kids can learn how to make a meal. I've been talking with a lot of parents about activities that we can do for the holidays that don't involve technology, or things we can buy, like a cookbook, or, ingredients for recipes, and really help our children learn skills that will enable a lot of growth, for their future, a lot of, as I said, life skills. And, cooking, cleaning. I mean, I'm not saying put your kids to work as your servants.
Why not?
But certainly they can participate. We're all home. So why not have them participate in those things too? And be a part of, the things that interest them. I mean, that's where I think we miss the boat with learning, is we forget to look at what our children are interested in. And we're just, shoving subjects and thoughts and memorization down our children's throats. We never stop to say, what are you interested in? What's your favorite subject? What do you love about that? Oh, you want to be an astronaut? Oh, let's do some Googling and learn more about that field. Imagine how fueled and empowered and excited a child will be to learn in an arena where they are interested.
Yes, and how the world will be different, because everyone will be actually working on the things that they actually love.
Right. Like you and I.
Yeah, exactly. And they're offering their gifts, because we all have hidden gifts and we need to discover them. And unfortunately, with the educational system, all these things, and they have to, follow a certain curriculum and then go to certain, colleges, and then I don't know, just get a job and make money. But I think that's broken. That system is broken, needs to be really reinvented again. And we can do this individually, and we can start from home right now. It's a great time. So I always say that everyone, not only our children, everyone likes to be seen. So this is a great time to just see them. Just like right now I do work. I used to do it like where I couldn't see my daughter, and for the past 2 days I'm sitting right in front of her, and every now and then I just blow her a kiss, and I feel how she's feeling filled up. I'm seeing her, she's right in front of me. So we can use this time, which is really hard, to kind of build up the connection, more meaningful connection, and rather than just going crazy and more stressed about the and kind of put the responsibility on the teacher. That's what I do. I email the teacher, oh, he doesn't want to do his work, can you talk to him or something. Like, give your responsibility to the teachers in such a way that it's not unfair, of course, but I think it's important not to sabotage our parenting relationship with them over school.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. The system it's the entire system, the whole educational system, you know, in at least the United States, it's just become so rote, and it's not the teacher's fault. You know, it's really just the way it's developed. I think it's definitely time for an overhaul. And I think the other thing is, remember, virtual schooling is not homeschooling. There are a lot of people, I think, that are going to step out of the, you know, the schools that we're talking about, the organization of school, and maybe move more to homeschooling. I hear a lot of talk about that. But what we're doing now in virtual schooling, where the teachers are still teaching your child on Zoom, that is not homeschooling. And I think, to be fair to those that homeschool, it's important to, you know, to have that diverse understanding, because they're two completely different things.
yeah.
And I think the other thing is, learn about yourself. You know, I didn't realize how much I love quiet, and how much I love simplicity. So this is really a time of simplicity, and a time to look at what we do have, not what we don't have, and, you know, put things in perspective. And that is really one of the biggest gifts I see, is that we have this time to look around us, look within us, and we're not so busy running around with chickens with our heads cut off, driving here and driving there, and, you know, meeting the school bus and getting the kids to the activities and running to the store and fitting it all in.
Yeah.
So now's a great time to take that step back and give yourself the opportunity. And of course, you know, with you, they can schedule a consultation call to talk about some of the things that might be going on, to be able to get some help. We all need support, right? We all need support, every one of us. So don't delay. She's here.
Yeah. I always say, we can't go out, let's go within, right?
That's right. That's
it's
right.
time for connection within ourselves.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Sue. This was such a blessing to have you. I'm honored to know you. I call you my friend. You're awesome. She's all over the place. She's on TV. She's on TV, radios, everywhere. She's world renowned.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. It's been a great, fun discussion, as always.
I know. Sending you love. Bye.
Right back at you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.